Number two, next one is goal. Goal has two, like it's noun and it has two meaning. One is the trait of being rude and impertinent. It's like rude and not polite. And another one is when someone does something out of pure anger and evil will. That's goal. So if you want to relate this word, you can relate it to golem or like ogre. They are not polite, they are very rude and they are very evil. So the word gall, proper example for it would be, suppose someone got hired recently and then they started complaining against the manager, which would be gall, and as in very rude and impertinent. And gall is, let's just say, okay, I did not make up the sentence, but that's why it's written here. When someone does something out of anger and bitterness and deep hatred and evil will, that is called gall. So uh, let's just say some girl, she broke up with someone, and then after breaking up she decided to, like, spread the inappropriate images. So that would be goal, like, what she, the act would be goal, and it's noun. And galvanize in chemistry, galvanize when you put something, a layer of something on top of a steel material. So galvanize is to inspire someone. It's a verb. So let's just say someone is very down and a family member or a friend talks to him or her about it and like inspire him. That would be like he would be galvanized. So yeah, if you want to remember it like that, that could work. And girlless is like girl. Girl, it has this connection. So girlless means someone who is very talkative. Yeah, it has something to do with girls. Girls talk too much. So that's girlless and it's an adjective. So next is gosh. And it is an adjective, someone who is not very social and someone doesn't go, like, lack that socializing skill. Who that person is gosh, and it's an adjective. Usually otakus and, like, the people who watch anime and like geeks, they are gosh people. And like, I'm myself an anime freak. So like, like when I talk about stuff like that, you shouldn't offend anyone because, like, I got myself included as well. And German is when something that is not relevant. Suppose there is a case going on and the guy who's like accused of doing something, he starts talking to the jury about how he recently published a book. That would be germane. It's like, and obviously the judge would tell him to stop talking about it because it's germane. And next word is glut. So the glut has glut has two meaning. One is a noun and one is a verb. So when it is a noun, it's okay. Also, before I say anything, try to relate the word to gluttony. Gluttony is like, seven deadly sins. So you get my point. So glut is when there is an excess supply of something. Let's just say, people don't want to buy something, but there are a lot of supply. There is a lot of supply of that product in the market. That would be glut. And for var, it would be inbox glutted. Okay, so let's just say when a famous company decides to hire someone, they would ask for resumes, and the post box would be flooded with resumes. So it would be glutted with resumes. So the next word is gossamer. Gossamer. If you hear the word gossamer, like if I hear the word gossamer, it kind of reminds me of glass and something very flimsy and something very delicate, like gossamer. It's like butterfly. So something that is like literally means something very delicate. So glasses and butterfly wings, they are an example of gossamer, and it's an adjective, and it means something that is very very delicate. For example, me, I could be example of that too. Gregarious. Gregarious is opposite to. Remember that word we talked about before? Gosh, someone who's awkward and not doesn't have social skill. Gregarious is opposite to that. Someone who's very social and in extrovert, that is gregarious. And some people can be gosh and gregarious at the same time. People who are like selectively social. I think I'm like that because like I'm selectively social. Like some people would find me very socially awkward, but my close friends, they would find me gregarious. So the next word is gillless. Gillless. And it is free of deceit. So an innocent girl in anime, just say, like, what can I say? Let's just say little babies, they are actually gillless. They do not have horrible intentions and they're very innocent, so that's gillless. And if you want to relate the word with something, it's like guiltless, someone who doesn't have, let's just say, guiltless, someone who is like free of deceit and guiltless. And it's hackneyed. Hackneyed, the word has hack in it, so obviously it would have a negative connotation. And it's an adjective, it means overused, having been overly used. Ice when she highlighted. Okay, hackney is when something is not significant, not sincere. When it's like not sincere. For example, well, this is, I've got a good example for this one. Hackney is when someone says something and you find it very hackneyed. If you tell someone that you've got depression and mental illness, and they would just be like, don't be sad. And if you say you've got anxiety, they'll be like, oh, don't just think too much. So that's hackneyed. When someone makes a statement or something and it is a hackneyed advice, it's like not sincere and something that lacks significance. Next is the word is haphazard. Haphazard, yeah. So haphazard is when something is done carelessly. Like, for example, my workplace is my bed and my desk. So I try to keep this place clean, but rest of my room is haphazard. It's like not organized, it's like carelessly done. Or if you think about an assignment, the first few pages, they are very organized, they are very well done, and the rest of the assignment is not properly done, so that's haphazard and that's an adjective. And next is harangue. Harangue is, this is another word called tirade, and it is it's a long speech, but like it has a negative connotation. So when something is boring and long, that is harangue. If someone, like, let's just say there is a family meeting and someone starts talking about their own achievement, that would be harangue. So the next word is harried. Harried is when you are, it's an adjective, and when you are bothered by annoying questions and stuff like that. So if you're a kindergarten teacher, you'd always be harried because like you would always have to answer stupid question that doesn't make sense. So that's like, the harried, the word that has a negative connotation, I think it would be easy to remember. And haughty. Haughty, when someone acts really high and mighty, that's haughty. And suppose there's this guy who came up to you and started talking like he has this and he's got property, he's got cars and stuff like that. That would be haughty, like, he's got his attitude would be haughty. And hegemony is when it's under something, when it's under something's supervision. So hegemony is, let's just say, there was a war, and one country decided to divide, and one country decided to have hegemony over their sea area. So hegemony is when someone has dominance over an area. And heretic, so there are like four words here that are, I think, connected. So first word is heretic, and number two is iconoclast, and number three is iconoclastic, and number four is idiosyncrasy. All these words has got this negative, the idea of being unique and different. It's kind of raining. I think you're gonna hear it. Anyway, I'm not gonna, like, I've got like 2 pages left. I really hope the raining stops. It's been raining for like few days non-stop, and it's just horrible. Anyway, as I was saying, heretic, iconoclast, and iconoclastic, and idiosyncrasy, they are like, different. Heretic is like going against the tide. Let's just say everyone decided to do like, something what teacher told them, and someone came up with a different theory. That would be heretic, and that is noun. And iconoclast. Iconoclast is something very unique. Something very unique, and well, hang on. Something unique, and it does have a negative connotation. It is unique, but it kind of attacks someone else's beliefs. That would be iconoclast. For example, if someone if you're not religious and you talk about being atheist or something, so you would be offensive to religious people. So that would be iconoclast. And like, if someone is vegan and you show up to them with wearing a fur coat, that would be iconoclast. It's like going against someone else's belief or idea. And iconoclastic is something that is unique and different. For example, recently, if you talk about Billie Eilish music, that's iconoclastic. And idiosyncrasy is like idiot plus someone who creates sin. As I'm saying, idiosyncratic, it would be like, someone who creates scene. So it's like anime fans, they would wear different color wigs and contact lenses and very different clothes, and that would be very unique. So that's idiosyncrasy.